Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley. Whoa, Deacon Bishop.
Look, every now and then you got to go deep into the closet, Sel. This is one of those deep into the closet.
Yeah, or way in the back of the closet, the old school coming out of you. Freddie Jackson. All right, here's Wiley Acho. Let's get it started in the NBA. Well, Kyrie Irving and Dennis Schroder were ejected for the first time in their careers during the Lakers' win over the Nets Saturday. It's not clear what started the argument, but after the game, Kyrie appeared to suggest Schroder called him the N-word during their verbal exchange. Kyrie tweeted, "The N-word is a derogatory racial slur. It will never be a term of endearment, reclaimed or flipped. Never forget its foul and true history. Throw that N-word out the window, right alongside all of those other racist words used to describe my people. We are not slaves or ends." So, Acho, is Kyrie's frustration justified?
Kyrie's frustration is absolutely justified, Sel, but there's so many layers on this thing. Y'all buckle up, y'all get ready. I had to do the same.
Can I unbutton? Pow,
Sel,
wow. Yes.
At the earliest of ages, we are allowed to choose what we want to be called.
Say it.
You get into a classroom, kindergarten, 6 years of age, pre-K, 5 years of age, whatever the case may be, and they take attendance. Emmanuel, here, but can you call me E? Okay, notate that. At the earliest of age, you're allowed to choose what you like to be called. Kyrie Irving, he is allowed that same freedom and that same justification. Yeah. He is allowed to choose what he does want and does not want to be called. Now, within the confinements of pro sports, understand, there's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek in my talk because on a basketball court, on a football field, your opponent isn't just going to call you what they want, what you want them to call you. However, there are terms as volatile as the N-word where there's a respect that can be given. There is a respect that can be lent. But, Sel.
Oh, here we go. I knew it. You don't got the little fluffy layer out the way. It's time to go deep.
Here is the thing. I didn't want to come here on my first lap, but I have to. I didn't want to, but we're here. Whenever authoritarians allow you to govern something, you better govern it properly or the authoritarian will once again declare their power.
Oh, I see where you're going. You explain something.
Whenever an authoritarian allows you to govern something, you better govern it properly or the authoritarian will once again declare their power. The NBA and NFL officials have essentially allowed black people to govern how they would like to use the N-word.
Wow,
We're kind of going to stay out of it. We're going to allow you to govern it. Okay, let me talk macro. In our society, the authoritarian officials, the white people in power, if you will, have essentially allowed black people to govern how y'all going to use the N-word amongst yourselves. Right? It's like, we know we're not supposed to say it, but we're not exactly sure if y'all are supposed to say it to each other. There's something about how y'all have changed the meaning, not exactly sure. We've allowed you all to govern yourselves. But the problem is, if you NBA players cannot properly govern yourselves, then the officials will declare their authority. So go back to playing video games. Me and my brother growing up, we would play PlayStation, right? We would play Madden. My parents would allow us to play the video games for about 4 hours on end. Y'all govern yourselves. But the second is, mommy, daddy, Sam won't let me play. Guess what? Taking the PlayStation. Can't nobody play.
Nobody doing it.
So the second that it appears that the black players, 75% of the NBA is made up of black players, 70% of the NFL is made up of black players. The second it appears that the black players can no longer properly govern when you can and can't say the N-word, guess what the NBA is going to have to do? You know what? Can't nobody say it. Technicals and ejections for all. And I will say on my next lap how that isn't beneficial either.
Okay, I get where we're going. Okay, I'm going to start here.
Start there. I'm with you.
Okay, let me answer the question. Yes, his frustration is justified. Let me start here with the N-word because it truly has evolved in meaning, in intention, in spelling. So let this conversation evolve as well. Now, we could go back historical and go back to where it started and how it was converted from the Spanish word Negro and blah, 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 give you my whole bus stop degree on the N-word. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to personalize this because I am Dennis Schroder and I'm also Kyrie Irving. Now, let me give you my personal story on this word. Growing up in Los Angeles, California, I used to use this word profusely. all the time. My name was Marcellus, that word, Wiley. And I would say it, and I would receive it. And I never felt anything for it in terms of a negative response or a negative intention when I used it. And then there was a moment of enlightenment, I like to call it, when all of a sudden I did evolve. And I did go to a new place where now I'm Kyrie. I don't use the word at all. Any circle I'm in, social circle, whether it's intimate or just some casual friends, know that when you say the N-word to me or around me, you might get the side eye. But what I won't do is what Kyrie did, even though he's justifying doing it, is I won't cause that confrontation.
Okay.
Why? Because I was allowed the room to grow, to evolve, using the word to one day turning into Kyrie not using the word or not wanting to hear the word said to you. So when I see that confrontation, my only pushback on Kyrie is allow Dennis to be Dennis, whatever that room of growth and evolution turns into. Now let's go deeper.
Oh, where are you going?
Okay. The social space allowed to grow. Whether you want to deem those people who are against you or on the other side of the fence ignorant or not, is not for you to govern. Because if that was the case, I would have never evolved to the place where I am. If that were the case, Kyrie, there is video on video of you using this same word, and you wouldn't have been allowed to be enlightened as well. So where the word comes from is one separate conversation in terms of how it's evolved and still possesses so much poison that a lot of people don't want to hear it. But for those who have converted to a place of enlightenment, a place of growth, you can't now look at those same people who still use that word as someone that you want to condemn in these moments.
I'll say this, Sel. When you talk about the N-word and Kyrie Irving, because I agree with you on several things that you said. I was talking to Oprah one day, and you know this, Oprah.
Casually say that.
I was talking to her before a show that we were doing together.
Okay.
And off camera, Oprah and I had a conversation, and Oprah said, Emmanuel, I don't tolerate the N-word to be used around me, nor do I use it, because it was oftentimes the last word that black men, women, boys, and girls heard before they were beaten, mutilated, and murdered.
Right.
And as a result, I do not tolerate that word around me.
Right.
However, I use the N-word. I use it with my friends from the league. I use it with my black brothers and sisters from the league, etc. But I respect Oprah and her wishes. Would never use it around her. That was a private conversation, a private confrontation, if you will.
Yeah.
Now, I'm hesitant to say that those who do not use it, black people, have reached a term of enlightenment or growth, because I don't want to imply that those who do use it are not grown nor enlightened. That is my one hesitancy.
Yeah.
Because as you know, amongst several black people, the term has been rebranded. The N-word has now been used as a term of endearment, if you will. Allow me to explain. My friend, he's a rap artist, a hip-hop artist out in Houston. He calls his wife fat, F-A-T. I don't know why. She's about 5'5", maybe a $135. Refers to her as fat.
Is it P-H-A-T?
F-A-T. Refers to her as fat, nickname.
She's thick, huh?
I would never, ever call my wife fat. I wouldn't. But based upon the relationship that he and his spouse share, based upon that relationship that I am not privy to, that is their term of endearment. Is to hers. Kyrie Irving, you do not have the authority to say that the N-word is not a term of endearment, because to some people, it is within the confinements of that relationship. In the same manner, so many black people, I myself, proclaim that my white brothers and sisters, y'all don't have the authority to tell black people, hey, you can't use that word. Because to so many black people, within the confinements of their relationship, being black, that's a term of endearment. In the same manner, I wouldn't enter certain spaces and be like, hey, what y'all, you can't call him that, can't call her that. I'm not gonna tell my friend what to call his wife. They have a relationship there.
Okay.
And based upon that relationship, they call each other certain things. People used to call you that dude.
They still do. I am that dude. I don't know who you talking about.
He is that dude.
What?
People that know you well call you that dude. When I first met you, I didn't know the term, because I didn't know you then. We didn't have that relationship then. And so I do think, one, we have to acknowledge it's not a monolithic group where all black people think the same way. Some black people don't like the N-word. Some black people still utilize the N-word, and that is my second lane.
Okay, well, I use enlightenment, and I'm glad you pushed back on me because you're being authentic. And I use enlightenment for a reason, because I don't know a black person that still uses that word in the greatest version of themselves when they're going around expressing themselves.
Okay.
You don't use it around Oprah, because you think greatly of Oprah.
Okay.
So when you're around Oprah, not only do you respect her wishes, but you then also just come at Oprah like, what's up, N-word? because that's not the greatest version of yourself. I've noticed, and look, I had to do this own litmus test on myself. The greatest version of Marcellus Wiley wasn't using that word. When Marcellus Wiley was handling business, I wasn't using that word. When I used that word, it was a lower version of myself in terms of what I could be in the optimal sense. I give you this example.
Yeah, define that. Well, let me push back because I think there's some people who might be confused because I'm a little bit confused.
Okay.
I've handled business with other black people. High-level, rich,
ooh, you my second
very
layer.
rich black people.
You're my second layer.
Who we dap each other up before the business exchange.
I knew it.
What's up, my N-word?
Yeah.
We breaking bread. I don't use N-word around Oprah because that is Oprah's request.
Okay.
But it's other people who don't have as much money because Oprah got that bread. But it is other people who are breaded up who would, what's up, my N-word? And I don't think it's a matter of I don't revere them or it's a lower version of myself. It's just a different relationship. Talk to me, Sel.
I'm going to talk to you. That was my second layer. Let me talk about the enlightenment layer, why you don't use it in business generally, typically, why you don't use it when you're expressing yourself at your best version. It's because when you're in that situation, you come to realize, and this is my example that proved it to me. I was working with a therapist one time in San Diego when I was on top of the world as that dude, as you wanted to talk about, right? And he gave me this, I don't know what to call this properly, but it was a finger test. And he said, put your two fingers together like this. And he said, I'm going to talk to you about the thought, word, action continuum. Thoughts, words, actions, continuum, how it all manifests. And I'm sitting there like, are we doing voodoo up in here? Because I'm already getting my sacks. I don't need all this. Just heal your boy. And he said, I'm going to tell you how even your thoughts connect to your words, connect to your actions that give you the highest vibration of energy. Now I'm really spooked. But I'm sitting here with this therapist because he's world renowned. And he said, keep your fingers together and use all of your strength. Mind you, this is 26-year-old version of me. Ain't nobody pulling these things apart, right? And then he said, I'm going to give you 4 words and keep them together. The first word he said is fruit, together. Then he said vegetables, together. Then he said candy, and I'm not lying, Acho. I said, wait a minute, do it again, rewind. He said alcohol. And I said, what does that mean? He said, you know what? There is. Now, this is getting way too deep, maybe for this show, too. But he said, there's a vibration. There's an understanding. There's something in you whispering to yourself that is telling you, what's the best version of me? And he said, when I give you thoughts, words, or I see actions from you that I put in front of you as a mirror, all of a sudden, you respond to it. So people go at home, learn about this therapy, learn about it, etc. I brought that up only to tell you that was the first time it clicked with me. Be careful what I'm thinking. Be careful what words I use. Be careful, obviously, of all my actions. Now, the layer you're talking about is the layer where, hey, come on, dog. Come on, brother, N-word. It's me and you, right? And that takes me to the plight of the N-word. Okay. Now, the plight of the N-word, all black people feel like we possess that plight because of our skin color, because of our race, and others don't, correct? So we use that plight card. Oh, you didn't experience what we have experienced in terms of our history, in terms of our day-to-day interactions, whatever that may be, which are diverse. So therefore, you can't use that word. But then it started to expand. Walk with me. The word in terms of the plight started to expand from beyond race to culture because I started to see Latinos using it. No problem. And then I started to see white people get the pass and use that same.
Yeah, I ain't see them white people.
Go to New York. You'll see them. Okay. I know a couple. Anyway, and I'm like, it even happened in the league before. We saw the incident in the Miami Dolphins locker room. Oh, he got a pass. Does he? So anyway, race and culture started to become hybrid with this word. It started to grow. Fine. But here's what I asked my same people. Okay, so we got a plight card that we can use it and we can give access to who we deem needed that access. Here's the problem. Do we even get the access to the card? Because our ancestors are sitting somewhere up high saying, y'all haven't experienced the same plight I have. They're a third generation, wealthy, never disturbed in their day-to-day presence, black people who are still claiming the plight card that they use as access to use this word, but then would turn that same plight card on somebody else who doesn't have that same kind of lifestyle. Man. All that says is this word is a damn mess. I wish all would just use it as properly as it's supposed to be used, in the trash can. But people want to still get it out the trash and try to use it sparingly, and that's where the issues are.
And here is, I think, the crux of the conversation for me lies in this. The fact that we're having the discussion about it. Why do I bring that up?
Why?
Because we're talking about it because Kyrie got into it with another black dude about the N-word. That's why
From Germany.
From Germany. Kyrie was born in Australia, however.
Thank you. You're making my point, how wide this has gotten.
Yes. I think it looks very divided and can look very idiotic, if you will, when you now see black people arguing about, hey, you can't use it. Even though you black, you can't use it because the resounding vibration in society is, okay, well, black people, you all use it amongst each other. So continue to use it amongst each other. Where am I going with this, Sel?
Okay.
I choose intentionally not to argue with other people who look like me very oftentimes because I'm not going to give ammo for people who don't look like me to further discredit people who look like me. Let me break this down. I choose oftentimes not to argue with black people because I don't want publicly, because I don't want white people to be like, oh, well, if they don't even get along, how am I supposed to get along with them? What do I mean? You know, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, the show I started, the book I wrote about racial reconciliation. So many people are like, well, Emmanuel, why don't you bring on Candace Owens? Why don't you have a conversation with Candace Owens? Candace Owens, for y'all that don't know, has thoughts and beliefs that on paper look very different than mine. And I say, look, I'm not going to sit here and argue with another black sister for public entertainment. I'm not going to sit here and argue with another black individual for public entertainment. We may have a private conversation, but what I'm not going to do is look divided with somebody that looks like me. Juxtaposition. Within the household, what I've often heard is parents provide a united front to your kids. You and Anna Marie, your wife. I'm sure y'all disagree at times. Oh, let's go to public school.
What you mean at times?
Right? Like, hey, let's take them to public school. No, let's send our kids to private school. Well, public school will be more diverse. Well, private school, they might get a better education. But by the time you present the front to your children, you all look united. Because if y'all look divided, then the children gonna look at y'all like, oh, y'all can't even get along. Y'all don't even respect each other. What I'm gonna respect y'all for? So my issue as it pertains now back full circle, big picture, Kyrie Irving, big dog. I don't have an issue with you having an issue. I have an issue with how you expressed your issue.
Yeah, I give you that.
Do that.
That's what I
said.
Yep.
Like, I don't have an issue with you saying, hey, don't call me the N-word. But my thing is, hit Dennis Schroder's line. Hey, big dog. Hey, don't refer to me as that, X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Hey, big dog. I don't appreciate that word, X, Y, and Z. Because now, when you come out and get ejected, thrown out of a game against what's probably going to be your largest opponent when it's all said and done, the LA Lakers, when you get ejected because of that, and then you come out and you say, this word is not a term of endearment, now you have white people who, on general, are already confused about the word. I know because I wrote an entire book and a chapter dedicated to the whole word that people message me about daily, who are already confused about the word. Like, wait a second. Black people confused about the word too.
Right.
Let's just get rid of it altogether. And then why is that a bigger issue, Sal? Because we live in a society that historically, our white brothers and sisters have told our black brothers and sisters what they can and cannot do historically. So if now again, an NBA, which is 75% black, an NFL, which is 70% black, if the NBA has to come in and say, hey, black people, y'all can't use this word, you're going to see another big domino effect because historically, black people have been told what they can and cannot do by white people.
Interesting. We're going to really go here now. Reset this clock.
Wait, are we not already here?
Yeah, we here, but boy, we about to go. You know how you go dive into the pool and you're like, oh, that was the bottom. And you be like, damn, what's that over there? You can't even see it. Let's go there. I don't care what white people think about this word because I don't care what black people think about this word. This word is confusing to white people because it's confusing to black people. You know why it's confusing? Because once again, let's go back to one of our examples we love to go after. This word is a negative in terms of how we have come to understand it. Yeah, the positive origin from it being Negro in the Spanish language turned into some other versions of it, turns into, okay, this word has a negative connotation. Now, when you multiply a negative with all of the positives in the world, all the positive terms of endearments you try to possess and use it in with intention. Oh, me and my boy, my N-word, my N-word, my N-word, my N-word, positive, positive, positive. But that negative multiplied by all those trillions of positives turns into what kind of equation?
It's still a negative.
It's still a negative, yes, which is still the confusion of this word. For me, I would discard of it. But I had to grow to get to that point. I'm not judging anybody, but let's talk about judgment.
Yes, sir.
Because I think this word comes with a judgment. If you're out and you're just in public discourse, public conversation, public display, and you see bad parents, don't you judge them? I do. If you see if I see somebody smoking cigarettes, I judge them. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna say, oh man, you ain't trying to live like you wanna live. Okay? If I see somebody out there showing up late, we supposed to be at the park at 2 o'clock, it's 2:30, you talk about I'm around the corner, I'm judging you. And if I hear somebody saying the N-word, I'm judging you too. Because I know it's not so much that I think you're less than me. I think you're less than who you should be. So when I hear the confusion and the reception of this is all problems. Let's talk about this. I think that there's too much of your audience when you're talking about how you use the word based on what other people are thinking and how they're receiving it. You said multiple times, I don't want white people. I don't give a damn about who is receiving it. I'm talking about the authenticity of your heart. Why did you even intend to say it? And if you're intending to say it as just a term of endearment, last time I checked in Webster's dictionary, there are 1 trillion words. But why are we so possessed with a word that is so negatively possessed to try and flip this word instead of just creating another word that is a perfect term of endearment? Please answer that.
I think it's this. I don't think it's a matter of why. I think the question that so many would ask is why not? For example, I say bruh, I say Brody, I say my dude, I say my guy. When I hit you, it's always, what's up, bruh?
Yep.
What's up, Brody?
Yep.
Like, it's another term of endearment.
How many people got killed ever in history by getting called brother?
None.
Well, then that's why we're not flipping that word. That's not a flip.
But my point is
you may be misappropriating it. You may be using a different word, different terms, but it's not a flip.
My point is I grab from different terms of endearment during the course of dialogue.
Which ones have you grabbed that have this negative of history? But this is a conversation for black people.
Yes, it's a conversation for all people.
Everybody's having this conversation.
I think then we really have to get to the conversation, and I think this is where everything gets dicey within sports and within our society of the words are not utilized the same, nor are they used the same, nor do they mean the same thing. There are different spellings of the word. We ain't got time to get into all of that. I'm sorry.
ER?
But you can end with an A, you can end with an ER, and those two things, based upon even writing, based upon delivery, and based upon reception, mean drastically different things. I was playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, 2013, a video of a white wide receiver, Riley Cooper, former Florida Gators, or star wide receiver at the time. He was at a Kenny Chesney concert. YouTube video hits, I'll jump over the fence and fight every N-word in here. Hard ER. I'm sitting in the defensive meeting room. I'm watching. I'm looking at my phone. I get the YouTube video. He said it with the hard ER. First question, how we say it.
Oh, you would have let him go with the A?
No.
But so why does it matter how he said it?
But I'm just telling you. I'm just delivering the news. I'm just delivering the news. The first question was how we say it.
Yeah.
And then the second question was, oh, hard ER? And then all of a sudden, now the issues are even bigger. They're multiplied. I say all that to say there are different responses based upon how the word is delivered and how the word is received. So I don't think that we can sit here and act like the word is the same thing. That's the real issue at hand. I don't think we can sit here and act like the word is the same thing. But then I got to flip this whole conversation on its head and know home buckle up for this one.
I wish.
Because if you want to discard the word and throw it in the trash like you have submitted, and I'm not necessarily
it's gone.
Like you submitted,
it's going out of my life.
Then to what extent? Because you a DJ, correct? You definitely DJ music.
Oh, do I ever.
Because if you didn't, that would for sure change that occupation for you. So if it's gone out of your life, is it really? Or is it just gone out of you saying it? Because if you still perpetuate it, isn't that just as big an issue?
Well, one, I only do corporate events now because I am a father and I have evolved. I am enlightened, and corporate events only want clean versions. But I know what you're saying because I still play it on my regular song.
Still listen to it. Yes. So just because you don't say it, if you're still perpetuating it, then in theory or in reality, you're still a part of. If it's a problem, you're still a part of the problem.
No, I'm not a part of the committee to censorship because the same thing with Kyrie. That's my only issue with Kyrie. The censorship part. It's out of my world. A lot of things out of my world. Come over to my house. You'll realize, like, take my shoes off. What do you mean? hey, bro. And there's a few more rules after you pass the first test.
Elaborate on that, though, because I'm confused still. I need this answer. If you don't say it, but you still perpetuate it.
No, I don't perpetuate it. I don't perpetuate because it's not in my action. Look, I can't walk. This is why I teach my kids. Don't walk around this world trying to get rid of all the issues. Just make sure that whatever issues come your way, you can properly respond to. So guess what? I don't say the word. I don't create the word. I don't put the word into the universe. But what happens is with those who do it, and then I'm a part of that, I'm not going to be the one with condemnation. I'm just going to be the one that's not in support of that. Now, I choose clean versions, everything I do. My kids have heard 6 rap songs. Seriously. And I'm a DJ. 6 rap songs because those are the only ones, not only N-word, but other profane words. So I'm not a part of that. I understand in this world, you're never going to get rid of the things you don't like. Okay. And I'm just enlightened enough to know that. That's why I'm looking at Kyrie. Even though you're justified, Kyrie, you can't get rid of all the things that you don't like. It's just that simple in that confrontation.
Here is, I think, my final bullet point for Kyrie Irving. One of my final bullet points for this discussion. Ben Franklin said,
"Ooh, we're going there.
Justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are affected." We cannot pick and choose when we want to be social justice heroes and social justice warriors. You and I don't.
No.
You're not allowed to pick. Because Kyrie Irving, you have a teammate in Kevin Durant that used every insulting term just recently against the Michael Rappaport dude. I mean, he dissed everybody and their mama. But Kyrie, where was the energy, sir, against all of those terms that are by no means terms of endearment? So, Kyrie, if you were going to tolerate this from your homeboy, your road dog, your teammate, Kevin Durant, using racial slurs, using sexist slurs that may not impact you or people that look like you, you got to stand up against all types of injustice.
Who says he's not, though?
We didn't hear it. We didn't see no tweets.
Hold on, but you just said handle this privately with Dennis. How do you know he didn't handle this privately with KD? And KD's like, that's your thoughts, but these are my actions.
I don't, but I do know this.
That's all.
If you handled one publicly, then I'm just assuming based upon the character of your actions, you may have handled that one publicly as well because the Kevin Durant issue was very public, but you are correct. I don't know that. What I do know is this. If you're going to speak on injustice of one thing in one term, then keep that same energy for injustice of these other terms. Because don't just sit here and try to protect yourself because we live in a society that is far too selfish as it stands. Kyrie Irving, if you're going to be mad at the N-word, then I need to hear that same energy about all these other words and all these other players in the league that are using racial and sexual slurs as well.
Well, that's a different conversation. I would love to have that one. One, there's going to be a different response because it hit you. It hit Kyrie. Like, KD is not hitting Kyrie with that, and if he is, he might be talking about that privately. I don't really want to go into those waters till we have that full conversation. But that's kind of upsetting to know that people are looking at Kyrie like, since you stood up for one thing that was coming at you, you got to stand up for all things that are around you. When in reality, if you want the world to be the best place, be the best version of you.
Correct.
Like, you can't save this world, but you can save you. The only thing you have in full control is you, Kyrie. And Kyrie made sure when someone's talking directly with his name in the conversation, he gonna handle that.
But Sel, if we really want to save this world, I feel like you can't only be selfishly concerned. You have to save you, but you also got to look and be like, hey, is Sel good or do I need to help him out? Because what if Sel can't save himself? Sel got to look at Acho and say, hey, is Acho good or do I need to help him out? Because what if he can't help himself? We got Asian American hate right now. We got Asian hate right now. We have transgender hate. We got all types. And if only the people that are affected fight for themselves, then there are going to be some people left without a voice who can't fight, who can't do X, Y, or Z. So yes, save yourself. But I feel like if you have the bandwidth to save somebody else, to fight for somebody else, I think you have not a responsibility, but I think our society would benefit.
Oh, look, you know I disagree with all that, but I love you too much. Selfish, selfless, one thing in common, self. It starts with you. Unfortunately, we're in a world right now where we think all these are new problems, but from the beginning of time, love was created with hate, brother. They've been battling forever. So when we talk about N-word with an A or N-word with an ER, how about N-word with either? Neither. Coming up, is Baker Mayfield the long-term answer in Cleveland? We'll tell you if it's a no-brainer to pick up his fifth-year option. But first, there's been a musical chairs of quarterbacks in the NFC. We'll tell you if that has left the door open for the Cowboys to make a run. That's next on Speak for Yourself.
Welcome back. The NFC, it had its share of moving parts of the quarterback position this offseason. The Dallas Morning News says the quarterback carousal could actually favor the quarterback carousel could actually favor the Cowboys.
Carousal?
Yeah, I be making up words, bro. That's why I got me stressed. That's why I got me stressed. Anyway, the quarterback carousel could favor the Cowboys, with the only upgrades coming from the Panthers with Sam Darnold and the Rams with Matthew Stafford. While Dallas has been steady with Dak Prescott, set to start his 6th season. So, Sel, let's talk about this quarterback carousal, if you will.
Yeah, damn, N-word. What the hell is carousal?
I don't know how to pronounce no words. You telling me I got to get rid of words? I got to use words? Man, I don't even know.
Yeah, get rid of carousal. Put it in carousel. I ain't talking to you.
Anyway, is the door open for the Cowboys to make a run in the NFC?
Yes, it is. And here's the most awkward transition in sports talk history. Go from the N-word to talking about the Dallas Cowboys. But, yeah, I really think they can make a run, big dog. Let me tell you why. All they have to do is win their 7-win division, and they're in. And once you're in, what did Kevin Garnett say? Anything is possible. And Adidas is sitting there like, damn, the hell on the biggest stage, he messed up our damn slogan. The slogan is impossible is nothing. I get why Garnett changed it. That's a better slogan than what he said. But the point is, anything is possible. Oh, you don't think so? Remember last year, somebody was whispering to you, then I started to yell, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 7 wins. Watch them turn it around. Tom Brady's in the building. Different quarterback. Everything changes. Why? Because the quarterback is the most important position. And if you look at the Dallas Cowboys, they got a different quarterback. Oh, they got Dak Prescott coming back off injury, paid with security, with equity. And now they realize, finally, we appreciate Dak because we are different without Dak. So all he has to do is go out there, win the games in that division, that he is 19-6 in terms of his record in the NFC East. And then 3 of those losses came in his rookie year, so he's really like 16-3. Dak owns the NFC least, right? So now he gets in. And what happened with those Tampa Bay Bucks? That can happen with these Dallas Cowboys. Just go start slaying dragons. Washington football team, your defense. Yeah, I got to get out of here. Drew Brees, you want to retire? Bow, get up out of here. Aaron Rodgers, they want to trade you or at least demote you. Bow, get up out of here. Patrick Mahomes, no one doubts you. Bow, now they do. And that can happen with a team that was 7-9 the year before, quarterback change, and a lot of other parts of talent. Now, here's the part that you got to mix up. Here's the gumbo. Dallas Cowboys got talent, a lot of talent. Because if the Dallas Cowboys were to make a run, go deep in the playoffs, you know what most people would say? About damn time. You know why you would say that? Because you had an expectation based on this same talent. And then if you look at them and they possess the talent, and they actually make it come to fruition, you're going to say, wow, it finally happened. So all those things are bubbling right underneath the surface. Acho, look deeper than the top layer and see these Cowboys poised for a run.
Strong take.
James Worthy style right here.
Strong take. But no, the Cowboys aren't poised to make a run in the NFC. So if you want to get out of my complex, my building's complex, you got to get out of several doors. Right? First off, if you're in the bedroom, you got to get out the bedroom door. You got to get out the front door.
First of all, why am I in your bedroom?
Not you.
I'm only one here. Okay.
I am in my bedroom. Got to get out the bedroom door.
Okay.
Got to get out the front door. Then you got to get out the door that lets you out to the street. Cowboys might, maybe, get out the bedroom door which is the NFC East, right? That's the door closest to them. They might, maybe get out that door, but somebody got to explain to me.
Shut up.
Cowboys finished 3rd last year in the NFC East.
Not the Cowboys. That wasn't Dak.
No, the Cowboys finished 3rd last year in the NFC East.
Here you go.
And I would say that, yes, the Cowboys got better, but the Giants also got better, and they probably got better at a greater rate than the Cowboys did. Washington, who also finished better than the Dallas Cowboys, they got better at a greater rate than the Cowboys did. Are the Cowboys returning Dak Prescott? Absolutely. But remember, before Dak Prescott went down, the Cowboys were only 1-3. You can argue that they were 2-3 because Dak's backup finished that game. But Sal, for the Cowboys fans watching this show, and I know y'all are dedicated historians, football fans that are historians, remember, 2015, the Cowboys finished 4-12. At the end of that season, if you were to ask me, can the Cowboys make a run in the NFC East? I'd say, yes, they can. Because the Cowboys finished 4-12 because their starting quarterback, Tony Romo, got hurt, only played 4 games. In the 4 games Tony Romo played, they were 3-1. They finished 4-12. In the 4 games Dak Prescott played, they were 1-3. So the Cowboys were still bad, with Dak Prescott.
Oh, stop.
So why would I
Start
think
slow, you mean?
that they can be better next year, even though they were bad with Dak Prescott? Ask me that question at the end of 2015. Hey, next year, are the Cowboys going to be favorites in the NFC? Yeah, because if their starter comes back, they're a much better team. Even with Dak Prescott, the Cowboys still were not a very good team. So, no, they cannot make a run because even with Dak Prescott, they were not making a run, sir.
Man, stop. I love you in this projection that you love to make on all these players and all these teams. Okay, let's do your projection game. Here's a story of the Pittsburgh Steelers that were 11-0. Your projection would say they're going to win it all. How'd that turn out? Dudes won one more game after that, okay, big dog? And then you look at the Dallas Cowboys, where you say 1-3?
1-3.
How do you know they couldn't do the same flip? Because that's the way the ball bounces. The ball didn't bounce for the Cowboys their way last year. But you know, as someone who had to recover fumbles, that ball bounces all types of ways.
It does.
Every single time. What if the ball bounced the Cowboys' way this year? And think about it. At the end of the season, being real, looking at the defense, you're writing notes. That means I got you. Because you give me a lot, I write a lot of notes. Did the defense have the most takeaways since Week 11 last year? Yeah, they did. Were they 11th in scoring defense, which is from the bottom to 11th, means you're starting to turn the corner. Didn't the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense start to turn the corner second half of the season 2 years ago as well? Yes, they did. Let's talk about how the Cowboys right now. Look at this situation. Dak Prescott gives you 32.5 points per game. You talked about in those 4 games. That would have led the league in scoring, you know what? So let's project that all the way out. This team offensively will score 32 points a game, average. And the defense started to turn the corner second half of the season. And Ezekiel Elliott realizes it's time to go get mine because everyone's saying I'm in decline. Yeah, I know it rhymes, bars. So then, all of a sudden, you got now Dan Quinn in the building, working with a defense that started to turn the corner. Mike McCarthy, we know he's a Super Bowl champion coach. Dak Prescott back healthy. You start mixing up that gumbo, finally take a taste. They win a division, they're in the playoffs, and you spit it out.
Because, Sal, you go broke banking on what ifs. What if the ball bounces the Cowboys' way? It ain't bounced their way in 25 years. Sal, come with me real quick to a place called the Sugar House. The Sugar House is a casino in Philadelphia and South Philly. Come with me to the Sugar House, and here where we gonna go. We're not gonna go to the blackjack table. We're gonna pass that blackjack table. We're gonna pass the baccarat tables, and we're gonna post up at the roulette table. Because the roulette got one of them little balls, and there are about 38 holes that the ball can bounce in. And you wanna know how everybody goes broke at the roulette table?
Why?
By saying what you said. But what if the ball bounces my way this time? What if I spin it and the ball bounces my way? Put 5,000 on 36.
5K, why?
Because what if it bounces my way? That's how you go broke. Because the ball ain't bounced the Cowboys' way in 25 years. I am not going to blindly hope, blindly wish that the ball might bounce the Cowboys' way when I have no statistical data, no offseason acquisition, no metric to assume that the ball might bounce their way.
Objection, Your Honor. I don't know who this lawyer is in that cheap suit, but he is making up stuff. Sustain. You know what? You know what's wrong with you?
What's up, Sal?
Who won the Super Bowl last year?
The Bucks.
Huh?
Buccaneers.
Say it with your chest.
The
Tampa Bay
Buccaneers.
How many times they won the Super Bowl before this? One time,
2002.
Right? Yeah. And was that 19 years ago? Oh, okay. So you're saying it can't happen in 25 years, but it happened just now in 19 years. And who was the sorriest franchise in sports history by win-loss percentage?
I've not confirmed.
The same Tampa Bay Bucks, but now they changed. They're second worst because of the Super Bowl championship. The year before, the ball bounces differently. Who won the Super Bowl?
The greatest quarterback of all time showed up. There wasn't a ball bouncing.
What about the year before?
The greatest quarterback
Patrick Mahomes, not the greatest quarterback of all time yet. But how did they win it? And they hadn't. When the last time they won a Super Bowl? 50 years. Didn't win a Super Bowl at all. The point of it is the ball can bounce that way. The point of it is at the Sugar House, Acho's face is up on that wall because the ball bounced your way. Just one time. Coming up, the Lakers blew out the top-seeded Nets without LeBron and AD. We'll tell you if it was something or nothing. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Tonight on FS1, it's a battle in the NL Central as the Cubs take on the Brewers. Action begins at 7 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Let's head to the NBA where the Lakers were missing LeBron James, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis and several other players Saturday, but they still blew out the Nets. Come on, y'all. Brooklyn did not have James Harden, and Kyrie Irving was ejected along with Dennis Schroder in the third quarter. LA snapped the Nets' 9-game home winning streak. Joined now by Fox NBA analyst Slick Rick Bucher. Obviously, Slick didn't want none of that A block. You scared. But, Acho, is it something or nothing that the Nets lost to a depleted Lakers team?
It's something because of how they lost. It's not that they lost, but I look at the how. We always talk about, well, in order to win a conference finals, in order to win a playoff series, you got to beat a team 4 times. And that's true. But what we realized is, wait a second, if the Lakers' backup players can steal a game, then all of a sudden, having to beat a team 4 times only turns into having to beat a team 3 times. Then all of a sudden, that math drastically changes in the favor of an opponent. It's not that the Nets lost, it's how the Nets lost. Andre Drummond, in his second real game with the Lakers, 20 points, 11 boards. The Nets, worst team as far as stopping big scoring points and getting assisted to score points. It's not that the Nets lost, it's how they lost. If you can't stop Andre Drummond, you're going to be able to stop Giannis Antetokounmpo? You're going to be able to stop Joel Embiid? Are you going to be able to stop Anthony Davis if you can't stop Drummond? So again, is it a big deal that the Nets lost? It's a huge deal, though, how the Nets lost, and that's where I'm focusing my attention.
Okay.
Fair point, Acho. I'd say that there's 4 somethings that came out of this. Number 1, a steady diet of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant as your playmakers is not going to work against a good defense. Kyrie Irving, 0 assists and 1 turnover in his 20 minutes. KD, 5 assists, 8 turnovers. James Harden was desperately missed in this game. 2, the hullabaloo over Blake and Aldridge and making them into Thanos or the Avengers or whatever movie reference that Marcellus had was completely overblown. This was the perfect opportunity for those guys to step up and show what they could do. They demonstrated instead why they were on the buyout market and why nobody was willing to trade for them. 3, the Nets are committed to small ball. DeAndre Jordan got his 5th DNP, and to my knowledge, he is not injured. But they didn't even think about bringing him off the bench and playing him against Andre Drummond. They are completely committed to playing small ball. And then 4th, the 4th one, and maybe this is the biggest one in the big picture. Kyrie Irving is a complete wild card. You don't know what you're going to get in mindset.
Bingo.
You don't know what you're going to get in performance.
Bingo.
And you don't know what you're going to get in availability.
Bingo.
So however you measure this Nets team, this big 3 that we keep talking about, it's 2 and 1, I don't know. And that is, again, all of those are some things when we look at the big picture for the Nets.
Man, I can't believe y'all own something like this. Y'all tripping out here. Man, y'all know this was nothing. The Nets playing the Lakers, that wasn't even the team. Like, let's talk about mindset first. When your mindset goes into a game and you're like, all right, we're playing against the Lakers. Oh, wait a minute, no LeBron? Okay, no. Get up, guys. Come on now. We got to play the Lakers. Oh, no AD? Man, stop. They played down to their competition, at least anticipated competition. And I remind you guys, all these glowing words and phrases y'all throwing out, they were only down 4 when Kyrie Irving was ejected. So don't act like this game was a blowout even when Kyrie Irving was on the floor. And not balling out like Kyrie Irving could in the first place, leading to some of his frustration and his confrontation with Schroder. So mindset, they played down to what they saw out there with the Lakers. They had THT out there. They had Markieff Morris. Andre Drummond playing more minutes than he typically plays. And KCP. Damn, a lot of acronyms and his initials. And Schroeder out there with his N-word calling self. That's it. Like, who in the hell's getting up for that? Acho, stop acting like you didn't play. Slick, stop acting like you didn't play somewhere. You play down mentally to your competition until you realize, oh, I can't do that. And that's playoff time. In the playoffs, let's play down to the competition. Oh, everybody's good. So that's not going to be a problem. Second of all, y'all keep talking about team. I heard team at least 10 times. Take the M off a team because we didn't see everybody on this team. We didn't see James Harden out there. So if you take the M off, that's what y'all doing, just spilling tea, as they say on the internet, tea. That's all y'all talking about. Y'all trying to make something up because y'all know ain't nobody built right now, except the Clippers, to deal with these Avengers. And that's what it's about. This team, when fully loaded, let's have that conversation. When you're not fully loaded, you guys are making something out of nothing.
The only conversation to be had is around the one sentence you said, when Kyrie was ejected. That's where, Slick, I'm about to focus my next little point here because it's all a matter of how them cats lost. Kyrie, you telling me that you got ejected from a fairly meaningful game. I say meaningful because you're likely going to meet the Lakers, everybody's assuming, in the NBA Finals. So this is at least the time to assert some dominance mentally, some dominance psychologically over the players that are really going to have to win the game for the Lakers, the role players. This is at least your chance to assert your dominance, Kyrie. And you choose, because you chose. Your reaction is a choice. You choose to get ejected?
Oh, come on.
Not one of them T's, two of them T's. You choose to get tossed out of the game knowing good and well, without you, Kyrie Irving, your team doesn't have a chance? Because the Lakers were only up by 4 when Kyrie was on the court. It was 66-62. But after he got ejected, the Lakers outscored the Nets 60-39. So if I can get this right, Kyrie, you're so conscious as to be aware of the meanings of words and to be aware of the energy of your ancestors and to be aware of all of these great things. But you're not conscious enough to realize that without you on the court, y'all can't beat the Lakers, particularly if James Harden ain't playing. Sal, you got to look into the details. And the details tell you it's not just that the Nets lost, but how and why did the Nets lose? That is where you find the problems for the Nets.
Acho, did you say anything about a blowout? I don't remember saying anything about a blowout. I don't remember putting any emphasis on the fact that they won by 26. Did you? You didn't say that, did you?
Didn't mention it.
You didn't. I mean, some of us made a big deal like we talked about a blowout. We just talked about an L, and I was specific about looking at things that happened in that game, looking at specific matchups, what Blake and Aldridge did, what James Harden's absence did, DeAndre Jordan not being there did, what Kyrie Irving did in getting him ejected. So I purposely didn't go to big picture. I didn't go to, I question the leadership on this team. I question whether the Nets small ball can actually work against a team when the pace slows and it gets physical. Now, I suspect that those are going to be problems, but I didn't take that as a derivative from this game because, as you said, Marcellus, we're not seeing the Nets at full force. We're not seeing their best small ball lineup. But you can't tell me that it doesn't mean anything because Kyrie got kicked out and James Harden wasn't there, and you didn't even mention KD being on a minutes restriction, but I'll give you that. When LeBron James and Anthony Davis are not there and Dennis Schroder gets kicked out, both teams were weakened. But this was a matter of what could we see based on what was there. And to say there was nothing shown, there were plenty of somethings. Maybe not a big something, but a sizable number of smaller somethings.
No, it's nothing. It's nothing because it's not really the team. It's not the heartbeat of the team. All you saw was some blood spilling, but you didn't see the heart pumping. MVP is gone. James Harden's not even there for this team right now. Kevin Durant's on his second game back with a minutes restriction. Still went out there knowing that he had 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake. The governor was there. 22.7 rebounds, 5 assists, 47% shooting. Come on, man. KD gonna put up even more than that. He shot 25 from 3. You know he's better than that. Yes, sir. Sir, yes.
Doesn't it say something about the Nets that they would take this game as nothing, as fresh as they are, as new as they are? If there was any team that didn't have anything to prove, it would be the defending champions, not this new upstart group that is trying to demonstrate that they're on the Lakers level. And I don't really care who's not there, who is or isn't there. It's a matter of we want to show that we deserve to be on your platform regardless of who's putting on a uniform today. And the Nets, to me, certainly did not do that.
I reject your lose-lose proposition you try to sell the Nets. If they go out there and beat these Lakers, THT and them, without Kuzma and them, then what the hell y'all gonna say? Man, y'all ain't playing with LeBron and AD. And if they go out there and lose against them, then y'all gonna do what y'all doing right now. So it's a lose-lose if you're the Brooklyn Nets. And I remind you, no MVP. KD is out there on a minutes restriction, second game back. And
Harden's the MVP now. We just gave that to him.
Well, this team for sure. Look, I can't lie to you right now. What's the record with him in the building? 27-7 when James Harden's playing. Come on, versus 2-4 when he's not. Yeah, he's kind of the MVP of this team right now. I digress. And then Kyrie was shooting well, but at the same time, like you pointed out, no assists. I look at this like I look at the NFL Combine. It's only there to help you, never to hurt you. We already seen you play. Yeah. We already know what you look like on game film. T-shirts and shorts running around doing acrobatics should only help you, but never come back to haunt you.
I got hurt at the combine. I tore my quad at the combine. I fell on the ground at the combine. His whole point is off. Let him go to break, Slick. Let him go to break. His whole point has been to do.
Sellers, you convinced me.
Right on you, though.
You convinced me. I was looking for something, and that showed me nothing.
We'll tell you I ain't even listening to you, Slick. We'll tell you if picking up his fifth-year option is a no-brainer. Next, speak for yourself. Slick, you want to talk to me? Time for the BRP Reward and Performance, brought to you by Can-Am ATVs and side-by-side made for off-road living. Ooh, my son wants one of those. Me too. Baker Mayfield helped lead the Browns to their best record since 1994. But Cleveland has choices to make with his salary. Baker is eligible for a long-term deal, but The Athletic reports, quote, the Browns could have concerns about entering into an expensive long-term extension with Mayfield, but picking up the fifth-year option looks like a formality. So, Acho, is picking up Baker's fifth-year option a no-brainer for the Browns?
Absolutely, Sel. Baker Mayfield has earned that right. I've told you this time and time again, but let me remind you all who haven't been privy to this dialogue or conversation. All I'm saying is when you watched the show prior. Let me remind y'all, the only reason we would even doubt if Baker Mayfield is worth this money is if we say this. Man, well, Baker's inconsistent. Remember, his first couple years, he struggled, Acho. Like, he ain't really shown us he that dude like that. Like, he ain't really shown us he a dog, Acho. Come on now. Can't pay him too quickly. But I would remind you all that Baker Mayfield shows up to the Cleveland Browns. And his first year there, the head coach for the Cleveland Browns was 1-31 in his prior 32 games. So what we know is that when it comes to NFL competency and winning games, Baker Mayfield didn't have a coach that could do that.
Oh, my God.
The next coach for Baker Mayfield was a man whom this year made a call so egregious that we questioned if he was throwing the game. He made a call so egregious that he got fired in the middle of the season as a coordinator. That's Baker Mayfield's next coach. Baker Mayfield's next head coach was a man who had no prior head coaching experience and who only had half a season as offensive coordinating experience. So if we are getting this right, in conclusion, Baker Mayfield's first three coaches, his first 2 years in the National Football League, a coach who was 1-31, a coach who was so bad that he got fired midseason and people questioned whether or not he was throwing the game, and a coach who had never coached before. But enter this past season, Baker Mayfield's third season, where he has a competent head coach, and he is one of 5 quarterbacks to throw 30-plus passing touchdowns with fewer than 10 interceptions. Y'all can look at the list as I say it. Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, Deshaun Watson. That is including postseason. So Baker Mayfield is in the likes of these names when it comes to passing touchdowns with minimal interceptions. Based upon all that context, Sel, you should have no questions. It should be a no-brainer about paying Baker Mayfield. The only reason Baker Mayfield didn't succeed prior wasn't because of Baker Mayfield, but because of who Baker Mayfield was attached to.
Oh, man, calm down now. Okay, look. Pick up his fifth-year option. Yes, I know. The lights went out when I said that because I said something nice about Baker Mayfield. Y'all see him flashing in here? Baker, I do like you.
Pick up his fifth-year option.
I know America's like, what? Look, I am a hater, but I ain't stupid. Like, look, I know when something's cheap, grab it. Like, what'd you say last week about Cam Newton at the discount rack?
Yeah.
Well, look beyond that rack. What's the rack over there? Just 0.99 cents. Baker Mayfield for $18 million? Come here, Baker. I love you at that cost. But remember, you get what you pay for right here. Oh, man, it's a no-brainer. He's just too damn cheap. Like, and it buys you runway to figure out who Baker Mayfield really is. Because you said there's only one reason not to buy into him fully. He's inconsistent, correct?
Yes, sir.
But there's another reason I would like to suggest. Maybe he's just not that good. We'll figure that out, and Baker Mayfield will do the talking for us. I look at this situation simply. Don't conflate him, Acho, because I think you tried to do that. Pick the fifth-year 3-year option up. But that long-term extension, it's on you, Baker. You only gonna eat what you kill. And I tell you so far, he hasn't killed that much. Are you paying long-term for a guy who has a 23-22 record? I don't give a damn how and what. That's just barely above water, barely above average, as you like to say. 500 right here. Baker Mayfield knows is above the water. I'm good. I'm swimming, mama. I can swim. No, you can't. 61 completion percentage. Stop, boy. 89 rating. Rating's right here. He's right under there, under the Mendoza lines, I like to say. Worst completion percentage than Jay Cutler. Remember him? Kyle Allen. Remember him? Fewer passing yards than Blake Bortles. Yuck. Nick Mullins. What the hell are we talking about? Lower passer rating than the mullet model himself and part-time quarterback Gardner Minshew. How are you going to be worse than Gardner Minshew? Didn't he get benched? You told me he did. Yes, he did. So it's not just inconsistency. Some of these are real big, glaring question marks. 5th-year option, obviously. Too damn cheap. After that, Baker Mayfield. It's on you, big dog. Got to bring in Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. So, Bucky, is picking up Baker's 5th-year option a no-brainer for the Browns?
It's a no-brainer to pick up the option, but we don't want to give him the extension. He has to earn it. We need to make sure that he proves it each and every year. And I saw Acho roll your eyes, but I'm going to do this because we're going to use the Dak Prescott situation as a blueprint for how to play with Baker, because how do we judge Baker? Do we judge it on the team success? Marcellus talked about the 23-22 record. So that's certainly not good enough to be in that $40 million per year category as a quarterback. Do we do it on individual success? He doesn't have any Pro Bowls. He ranked 30th in completion percentage. We talked about the names that he's associated with, the Sam Darnolds and those guys. We can't do that. But better yet, the biggest deciding factor in who wins or loses games is turnovers. Baker Mayfield has 44 interceptions over the past 3 years. Ooh. Jameis Winston and Phillip Rivers are tied with Baker Mayfield for the most. And so if we're about to write a big check, I'm trying to figure out why we issued a big check to Baker, because it's not the team success. It's not the individual success. What are we doing? I think the best way to do is to take this on a prove-it deal. And if Baker Mayfield balls out, the leverage goes his way. From the Browns standpoint, hey, let's make him earn that big check before we just hand it to him.
But Bucky, Sal, fellas, guys. No. If you're about to write a big check, if you're about to write a big check, if you're about to commit to something, to someone, you got to ask yourself, what are your options? See, Sal, if you desire to be single and in them streets like you previously did, then you don't have to ask yourself, what are your options? But if you are ever going to commit and you desire to commit like the Browns do to a long-term quarterback, you got to ask yourself, what are your options? And as I look at it, unless I'm mistaken, Baker Mayfield has given the Browns a euphoria they haven't seen in 26 years. Browns hadn't won a playoff game since 1994. Browns hadn't won 11 games since 2002. Brown hadn't won 10 games since 2007. So Baker has given the Browns a euphoria, a high, a jubilee that they haven't experienced in eons. So if you're talking about long-term commitment, you can't compare yourself to everyone else. I cannot compare myself to this other man who may have a plethora of more options than I do. I have to look myself in the mirror like I do every day after I get dressed, and I have to say, okay, Acho, what are your options? Because as I look at it, Baker Mayfield is the best option that the Browns have had in 26 years. So the Browns shouldn't doubt to commit to Baker Mayfield in a 5th term or the long term, because he's their best option.
Man, look, best option, that sounds cute. It's just really like he's too damn cheap to pass up. And this is the whole sociology of selling things. I took this course at Columbia University, top 3 in the world, I say. And it talked about the sociology of selling. It was a good class. It talked about when you walk into the grocery store, any convenience store, like all the items are placed in the exact place. Because how it plays on your mind. And this is one item that's going to play on your mind right here. Half off, Baker Mayfield. Because you're right, $40 million Dak, yeah, he's about less than half of Dak in terms of performance and less than half in Dak in terms of compensation at $18 million. But here's it. Baker Mayfield sitting there on that discount rack, $18 million, half off. And it makes you want to buy something you didn't even want to in the first place because you're like, I'm getting a deal, half off. How about full off? Here's your options, full off. He ain't good enough. Keep your money. Walk away. Now, in the NFL, because of a hard cap, we got to take half-off deals. But don't confuse it. I ain't booing up. I ain't marrying this half-off deal unless that half-off deal turns into full performance. And last time I checked, being 30th in the NFL in completion percentage is more half-off than full performance. Last time I checked, when Drew Lock is averaging more passing yards a game than you, Baker Mayfield, chill out, big dog. When we know Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they make this offense work. When we know we like the coach more than we like the quarterback right now, all those things add up to an offense that was fourth in passing attempts. You know why? Because even them are sitting at Baker Mayfield looking at him saying, you look half off to us. Prove by your performance that you're worth the full price. Patriots set an NFL record with nearly $160 million guaranteed to free agents this offseason. Owner Robert Kraft, shout out Columbia, recently said the spending spree was due to the lack of production in the draft. The Patriots have the 15th pick, and the Boston Herald says there is no surer bet than Bill Belichick, and, quote, the Patriots front office is a lock to trade up and down the draft board every year, hunting for value. So, Acho, have the Patriots done enough to be taken seriously in the AFC?
No, they haven't, but we first have to define taken seriously. Taken seriously, have they done enough to be in like serious, genuine lock playoff contention? Right? I think that's taken seriously. I'm taking you seriously if you're a playoff team.
I'm with you so far, but...
And no, because the Patriots it took 11 games to make the playoffs in the AFC last year. That's what it took you. Right? It took you 11. 11 is buying a ticket to get into the club. That's what it took. Patriots only won 7, Sal. So, like, the Patriots were 4 games away from being in the playoffs last year. Did the Patriots make 4 games worth of acquisitions? No. I mean, Dante Hightower, he's coming back. Middle linebacker, came out the same year as me, so he's getting up there in age. Also didn't play all last year. Nelson Aguilar, one of the best available free agent wide receivers, but the free agents at receiver weren't great for the Patriots. Nelson Aguilar's never had a 1,000-yard season. And look up statistically, every year that after he gets paid, he don't really make that much noise. He makes noise when he has to get paid. He did so with the back. That's true. That's true. He makes noise when he has to get paid, but like after he gets paid, kind of chilling for a little bit. So did the Patriots make 4 games worth of offseason moves? To me, no. Are the Patriots clearly better than the Dolphins? I don't think so. And the Dolphins were 3 games better than them last year. Plus, Tua's about to be a sophomore, now a year removed from his injury. Are the Patriots better than the Bills, who were 6 games better than them last year? Heck no. And the Bills in the same division. If you can't win a division, no guarantee you make the playoffs. Based upon saying that to be taken seriously, you have to be a playoff team, I don't know that the Patriots are 4 wins better than they were last year. I don't know if they can go from a 7-win team to an 11-win team. And it's probably going to take 11 or maybe even more this year in the AFC to get in.
You wrong. Sometimes you got to take that pause, let it breathe. People at home are like, hey, say something. He's wrong. Yes, they have done enough to be taken seriously in the AFC. I remind you, the JV squad almost went 11-5 last year. Now, almost is a word that I shouldn't be using because everybody could swim in almost, right? However, when you wring it dry, you realize they won 7 games with the JVs. And they beat the Miami Dolphins last year. What? And you just brought up the Miami Dolphins. Oh, they were deep in the opponent's territory of the Buffalo Bills and had that game locked and a fumble away from winning. So those are 2 games right there that turn the tides that leads to my 11-5 record that the JV squad almost had. But now, let's talk about this year. Varsity, QB1, Friday Night Lights, All-American, one of my favorite shows. Love y'all out there. And Belichick sitting on the sideline. Because Belichick has a sign. You don't see it on the hoodie, but it says it under the hoodie T-shirt. Beware of dog. And this is a dog, Westminster Kennel dog, like them top dogs. $160 million spent on all these dogs. And next year, Belichick is sick them all. You know why? Because he still has mind control over this division. I know my Buffalo Bills won this division last year. But they went out there and saw that squad, just like Brooklyn saw the Lakers, and was like, that ain't it. And they went out there and handled business. This year, mind control is coming with Debo and Bill Belichick. He understands that now I have the weapons. I have what I need. Cam Newton is going to be a different quarterback. And because you're a different quarterback, the most important position, everything's going to be different. Let me remind you who Cam Newton was. The same guy who came off injury, had no runway to get right, thrown into the Patriot way, this complex system, no weapons at his disposal, caught COVID, and still led all players in touchdown percentage. Don't sneeze at that stat. That means of every single player in the NFL, who had the highest percentage of their team's touchdowns? Cam Newton with them JV dudes he had out there. But Belichick said, let me lift up the hoodie, beware of dogs. This year he has weapons. This year he has real Cam. This year he has a squad. They're going to sicken on this division.
So,
you did it too. That was pretty good. Yeah, me saying.
Cam Newton has made the playoffs 4 out of 10 times. So there's a 40% chance that Cam Newton, historically based on Cam Newton's 10-year resume, there's a 40% chance that Cam Newton makes the playoffs. One of those times Cam made the playoffs was during a 7-win season. One of the only times we've seen a 7-win team make the playoffs outside of Washington last year. So what I am telling you, is that Cam Newton, even historically, there's a 40% chance, big dog, that he gonna make the playoffs wherever he quarterbacks. You wouldn't trust a free throw shooter to sink the game winner if he's a 40% free throw shooter.
If it was Shaq, I would, but I'm listening.
Like, you 40%, if you were a test taker and you hear 40%, if 40% of pilots were going to land the plane, you probably wouldn't get on the plane now, big dog. So I don't know why you're getting on this plane that Cam Newton is flying if 40% of the time it has made the playoffs. All I'm telling you is this. It's going to take 11 to make the playoffs in the AFC. Patriots can't be taken seriously unless they're a playoff team. Cam Newton hasn't been a playoff attendee since 2017. The Patriots appear to have lost their way. They've done some stuff, not enough.
Oh, wow. Did you check Instagram this morning, Twitter this morning? I was on there. Did you see me and my son?
I saw he hit that
thing.
He did. I was a homer. I don't know.
I mean, he 5. Damn, why you got to put expectations that high? He hit a ball that went to the bushes.
Okay.
I mean, it rolled, but it was in the air, too. Messed up somebody's Volvo, it looked like. I don't know. My boy is good. First pitch, leadoff batter in his first game ever. Yeah! Here's the thing. What I learned about baseball changed my expectations. This ain't football, big dog. Baseball is a failure sport. You understand? You go up there, you hit 333. Okay. You know how many times you struck out? You know how many times you got out? A lot more than you got hits, correct? So you talk about 40%. Let me bring my baseball world all the way full circle. You talk about 40%. That ain't enough. I'm looking at Tom Brady at his 33%. 7 Super Bowl champions in 21 years. Oh, you want to tell me that's a failure? You want to tell me now making the playoffs at 40% is a failure? Hey, did you catch this?
Let me see if I got this right.
Coming up. I got this right.
My point. So Tom Brady wins a Super Bowl just 7% less than Cam Newton makes the playoffs.
Yeah. That's all I wanted. I wanted you
America, I'm making sure I heard that right.
And I wanted you to put Tom Brady and Cam Newton in the same sentence, because here comes the winning in New England once again. Coming up, my son is a beast too, y'all. Kevin Durant is not all about winning championships. We'll tell you if his comments are a bad look. That's next on Speak for Yourself.
Let's head back to the NBA. Star Kevin Durant's Nets are heavy title contenders this season, and he already has 2 NBA titles on his resume with the Warriors. But trophies are not Durant's motivation right now. KD said, once I won a championship with Golden State, I realized that, my view on this game is really about development. How good can I be? It's not about, let's go get this championship. I appreciate that stuff, and I want to experience that stuff, but it's not the end-all, be-all of why I play the game. Close. Whoa. So, Sel, is it a bad look that KD says he ain't playing for titles?
No, this is a tremendous look, like a Jedi mind trick in terms of how Kevin Durant is really thinking. He's thinking on a grander scale. Look, he's playing for something even greater than a championship. He's playing for the best version of Kevin Durant and the contribution to that same championship. If you think about it in terms of that development he speaks on, I know, look at your face right there. Okay, I'm going to fix it. In terms of his pursuit of the best version of Kevin Durant, he's already passed up where you're trying to probably land, which is titlehood. In terms of what titlehood looks like, it's a means to an end. It's a stepping stone, and it's out of your control to a large degree. Think about it. Title means, okay, I'm going to do all I can, but I'm going to need contributions of others that are outside of my control. And then hopefully all of that culminates into this championship. But then what? Kevin Durant is answering the then what? The then what is the development. I have to be the best version of Kevin Durant. Let me take you back to young Kevin Durant. Remember him at Tech? He went to your school, UT? Golly, what size tank top was that? Chest was going in. Like he didn't even have muscles at all. Kevin Durant bet on himself as a developing child prodigy, right? A 7-footer with handles and a J. At a time where people were telling 7-footers, stay your butt in the paint as he's developing. And you know what he did? He bet on Kevin Durant outside the paint, using handles and guard-like skills to become this guy, Kevin Durant. I had a candid conversation one time with Shaquille O'Neal. And we were chilling, Bahamas. We were in the Bahamas. Look at me, I'm trying to act like I'm on Shaq level. He was in the deep end of the pool. I was like, hey, Shaq. Anyway, long story short, he was talking about his son, Sharif. And he was saying how he was raised as Shaquille O'Neal to stay in the paint. And he raised his son's game to stay outside the paint. Where did he get that knowledge? Watching a guy like KD who had nobody to look up to but still bet on himself. Don't you now come questioning Kevin Durant, because so far he's proven true more than once.
So KD is tripping, saying he's not playing for titles. And let me tell you why he's tripping. In psychology, in sports psychology, you know this, I've said it before, y'all don't know this yet. There's a time to be task-oriented and there is a time to be goal-oriented. Yeah. Task-oriented is improving upon your former self. Goal-oriented, improving upon everyone else. There's a time to be task-oriented. In practice, that's when you want to be better than you were in practice the day before. In the classroom, for you at home that were once students as we all were, be better than you were yesterday. But there's also a time to be goal-oriented, like when you're taking the SAT. When you're taking the SAT, the only thing that matters is how you score on the test. When you're taking the ACT, the only thing that matters is how you score on the test. Kevin Durant, when you're playing in the playoffs, when you're actually playing in games, the only thing that matters is, did you win the championship or not? It's not about, were you better than you were yesterday? It's about, did you win the game? Now, the bigger issue at hand is, you can't have a team pulling in different directions. James Harden, he already got an MVP, big dog. But what does James Harden not have? He don't have a title. So when James Harden steps on the court, laces up them sneaks, you know what he's playing for? Yeah. He's playing to win a title. So when I'm looking at KD, I need you to be playing to win a title as well. Yeah, be better than your former self if that helps you win a title. But I'm going to end my statement with the track analogy.
Let's go.
You were a...
Say it with your chest and respect. You better see these stripes. National record holder and national champion.
Look, forget all that. Let's talk about what's really good. When you're running a 100-meter dash, when you're running a 100-meter sprint, you have to focus on several things throughout the duration of the race.
Facts.
You have to worry about reaction time. How fast can you react to the gun? Then you got to worry about your drive phase, the first 10 to 30 meters of a race, your drive phase. Then you have to worry about relaxing and just running. You have to worry about all these things. But you're only doing that with one objective: to win the race. Because you can react to the gun with incredible speed. You can have the best drive phase in the world. You can stand up and open up your gate, and then you can relax and finish. But if you do all that to lose, you did all of it for naught, particularly at the Olympic Games. So if KD, if you want to improve upon your former self en route to a championship, do so. But just remember, like a 100-meter sprinter remembers the ultimate goal, it's to win the race. Do everything you want to en route to winning the race, but make sure you win the race.
Well, Kevin Durant is saying, look, I have to win the race, but I also have already accomplished winning that same race. Like, you acting like he's going to stop short of his development or stop short of a title. He's already won titles. Yeah. He's already went past that point. He's already had a new epiphany that beyond titles is my development, which is even greater than these titles. Who wants to go 100%, get a 100% achievement grade, and then no title versus a guy who gets a 90% but gets a title? Kevin Durant's like, look, the contributions of me running my leg on that track leg is most important to give us the chance for success. But it's a collective effort, and he's come to realize that I'm going to do my part, and you're not going to look at me and say we lost the race, but I do have to understand and respect I need others as well. Coming up, Jalen Hurts may have some competition at quarterback in Philly. Tell you if that's a good thing. Next on Speak For You, Jalen Hurts is expected to be the starter in Philly, but that does not mean there won't be a battle for the job. Eagles traded down to the 12th pick in the draft, but reports say they could try to move up. Trey Lance or Justin Fields slides. Philly could also pick a quarterback to, quote, either get insurance for Jalen Hurts or competition for Jalen Hurts. Acho, should the Eagles draft competition for Jalen Hurts?
Nah, big dog, not this year.
Yeah,
not this year. Yeah, but you know this.
Those are my notes. Yes.
You know where I'm at. It's this. Don't make the same mistake twice. You drafted competition for Carson Wentz, and you saw what that got you. Got your Super Bowl winning head coach just 3 years ago fired. It got Carson Wentz, a former MVP talent level of player, to play terribly, along with so many other reasons.
Man.
And it got you, the Eagles, from being one of the most competent organizations in the NFL to one of the least competent organizations overnight. So don't draft competition for Jalen Hurts. Not yet, not now. Go all in. So you got to go all in because I'll say it like this. There's no guarantee you will succeed if you go all in on something commitment-wise, but I can guarantee you won't succeed if you don't.
Yes.
Right? Like, I can't guarantee by going all in you'll succeed with Jalen Hurts. But I promise you, if you don't go all in, you won't succeed. And that's the same thing relationally. That's why we always end up joking about relationships on this show, but there's so many parallels, right?
Yes.
Like, you can't guarantee a sustained, healthy relationship if you are fully committed, but I can guarantee you it won't be healthy or sustained if you're not fully committed. And that's where it stands with the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. Go all in this year. You got 2 first-round picks next year. I think that might turn into 3, depending upon how Carson Wentz plays. If he plays 75% of the games, you got 3 first-round picks next year. And if you want to replace him then, do so.
Love it, man. Just trust yourself. And look, first of all, I'll say no. Don't draft anybody else. Go all in, as you said, to echo that. But trust yourself in this situation. It's just so funny. You just drafted him in the 2nd round to give competition or insurance to a $128 million man. How did that turn out? That you chose that 2nd round guy over the $128 million man. So now you have to trust yourself and go all in to echo your take. Ran into Wayne Gretzky one time. We were chopping it up. He was saying, look, Marcellus, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Actually, he didn't say that. I ain't even run into him. I just saw it on the wall, said Wayne Gretzky. So that's how easy I can lie up here, y'all. Point is, it's true. And here's a real story, though. I was here. Bruce DeHaven, rest in peace, our special teams coach, who was probably top coach during the Buffalo Bills' heyday years in terms of him being a special teams coach. And I remember sitting there, and nobody wants to play special teams. Like, if we telling the truth, not a single soul ever, Steve Tasker included, nobody wants to be on special teams. You want to be a receiver, linebacker, starting, et cetera. And I remember Bruce DeHaven sitting there saying, look, guys, I know nobody wants to be here, but here's the thing. If you give me 100% effort, I can't even guarantee you that you will block a kick. But if you don't give me 100%, I will guarantee you you'll never block one. And we looked at him and said, I don't want to be here, but it's kind of interesting now. This is a situation where if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, it's going to get real interesting if you don't buy into what you already did, and I don't think it's going to be a positive if they don't.
Big dog, that's a life lesson. We dropped some. I feel like we dropped some bars throughout the course of this show, but I think it's a life lesson of if you don't go all in, I can guarantee you're not going to succeed. It don't matter what you're doing. For the Eagles, in business, professionally, familially, relationally, spiritually, whatever the case may be. If you don't go all in, I can guarantee you ain't going to succeed. So at least go all in and see what you have. Lamar Jackson was the 5th quarterback selected in his draft. Reminding you all, Jalen Hurts was the 5th quarterback selected in his draft. Just an interesting parallel that, like, Jalen Hurts was selected 53rd overall. It's not like he can't play. It's not like he doesn't have talent. It's not like he wasn't a Heisman finalist. It's not like he at least doesn't show some raw, very raw, but still raw potential, some very raw talent. Eagles, don't make the same error you literally just made that cost you your quarterback, that cost you your coach, that cost you your OC. Like, you made a mistake and it cost you all these things. Just don't do that again.
Yeah, he started 3 games, number 2 offense in the NFL. I got to end it with a quick story. Dorsey High School. In high school for me, I was at Westchester at the time, and I was working out. And I used to have this fear of everyone at a different school looking at me train because they're like, that's as fast as, you know, somebody up there, oh, he ain't that fast. Or some dude like, man, he's sorry, right? And then I remember vividly one day, it was like my sophomore year, I was like, Lord, if I don't go as hard as I can when I'm training, I'm never going to make it no matter what. So I got to go as hard. Fight those demons out there. Philadelphia, go all in. You got to go hard. Who cares what they saying up in the stands in the crowd? Coming up, Kyle Kuzma trolled the Nets with a LeBron meme. It's pretty good. We'll tell you if we liked it or not. That's next. Don't speak for yourself. Remember that.
The Lakers blew out the Nets Saturday without LeBron or AD or Kyle Kuzma. But Kyle Kuzma let everybody know about it. Kuzma didn't play in the game, but he tweeted a LeBron meme with the do-rag and cigarettes, which signifies the king always finds a way to win. So, Marcellus Wiley,
Yeah.
how you feel about Kuzma trolling the Nets after the win?
I liked it. It was fun, but it was baseless. So since it's baseless and fun, let's have some fun on Kyle Kuzma's expense. It's funny just a dude who might be the reason they don't even beat the Brooklyn Nets because of how Kyle Kuzma performed this year is now the one that want to shoot off the joke. So while he's having a career low in points per game and field goal percentage, good joke. But let's get real when you go on that court, big dog, and let's see it. You know I got always shots. Oh, you really? You hear like I twisted that? Oh, hey, Kuzma, you want some smoke? Get on the court and let them Nets handle you, boy. That's it for us. Fox Bet Live next. I was like, all right.